This is Randy Flores from Bushwick, Brooklyn, and I'm on the next episode of the Step Up Podcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Step Up Podcast. It's your host, Nelly. Got home team Allie with me.
What's going on?
Got a special guest from the city,
Randy
Flores, praying to high angels.
Let's get it.
Let's get it. Randy, talk to me, man. First thing I need to talk to you about, little guy in the city. Talk to me. Get it done.
What part of the city?
Oh, Bushwick, Brooklyn.
Ooh.
Yeah, Brooklyn boy.
Ooh.
Born and
Well, tell me
raised?
your come up right now.
I come up, I was born and raised in Bushwick. Attended Grand Street campus, did my 4 years there. It was a lot, it was a very good time there. Then I went to D2 in Franklin, it was called Franklin Pierce University, New Hampshire. And I was fortunate enough, to transfer to D1, Alabama State University. And that's where, ended my career at.
Wow. Well, so, the one thing I heard about you is that you took the long route, man. You went and got your paper, and I love it. I love that. And, I preach that for a bunch of my guys. Talk to me about that, your journey throughout. Basically, college and out.
I felt like in my situation, I've always been like overlooked, but I always knew within myself that I had it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I always knew, my brother always taught me, all it takes is one person to believe in you. And for me, it didn't matter how long it took. I just did what I could control, which is work hard, put my head down and do the right thing at the right time.
Where do you think that confidence came from? Like, who poured that into you outside of your brother?
Honestly, my family, but my big brother for sure is definitely, he's been the role model. He
played too?
Yeah, my brother played in college too as well. He as a kid instilled in me, like, if you want it, you got to work for it. You got to go get it. So that's one thing that I always, stuck in my head. I was in the park when I'm 5 years old playing against all the 10, 11, 12-year-olds.
Makes you better.
Yeah, he always gave me goals like, oh, if you want to throw this hard, you better go run an hour in the park. And I'll be right there behind them. I might be behind, but I'm right there behind them, showing them that, I want it.
That's awesome. So tell me your first, after high school, what journey you took?
So I didn't really have many offers coming out of high school. I had the numbers, but at the same time, coming from the inner city around that time, I feel like we get overlooked a lot, just because of the shortened season. We don't play as many games as other schools, down south, I could say. So I just felt like it was a little tougher. And then with travel ball too, like I feel like during my time, travel ball was just starting to get like the exposure. Difference how it is now. There's so many different teams.
Mm-hmm.
You could really put yourself in the limelight. At my time, I feel like there was a couple teams, especially with inner city kids. So there was like the Bronx Bombers. I don't know if you heard of them.
Yes, I do know.
They were
the
a big
Bronx
team.
Bombers.
I had a couple friends that played there, but I took the route to go play in New Jersey. So I used to play for a team called the Northern Valley Hurricanes, and it was like a lot of Jersey kids, but a couple, city kids, a couple kids that went to Grand Street. And I took that route, we went to a lot of tournaments and I got to, get my little taste of travel ball, but I was already at that point, 16 years old, kind of a little late on the road, I guess you can say. So, I took that route and my bad. Let's go ahead.
So you were commuting to practice at like 16 years old, 15, 16, 17, when you were playing travel ball?
So I was fortunate enough. My dad used to take me. He used to, go out of his way, take me, to these tournaments. But I do got an interesting story once. There was one time at work, and I had a tournament in Diamond Nation. That's probably like an hour, 40 minutes away from me in Jersey. And he told me, I can't take you. And I was like, I'm trying to go play. So I'm going to find a way. So I took the train all the way from Brooklyn, all the way down up to the Heights. Got picked up at the George Washington Bridge.
Oh.
Had to walk the bridge. Get picked up on the Jersey side to then make my way over there to go play.
How's that a funny story?
That
sounds like a mission.
Nah, it was a mission, but I was with two of my friends, and I'm not going to disclose what we were doing on the walk on the bridge, but we made it fun.
You love it. You got there, right?
Sure.
What's your dad say about that?
I didn't tell him. He just asked me how the game went.
Okay.
I did good.
There you go. That's good. Well, once you got into college, obviously, height was got to play into factor. I got a bunch of little guys on my team. I love rabbits. I preach it. My brother was a rabbit. How was that like, walking on campus? Obviously, JUCO bandit.
Oh, nah, I'm a D2 bandit.
D2?
I guess.
JUCO, same thing. D2. Nah, I wouldn't say D2's good. D2's good. D2's good.
But
JUCO's good.
Yeah, but for me, when I walked into D2, I went to like, at that time, they were a top D2 program in the Northeast.
Yeah.
So I know I just went, I wore my heart on my sleeve. I went over there and I was like, you know what? I'm a New York City kid. Y'all might not know what we got down here, but I'm gonna show you.
I do know that you were the first MVP though, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me
That's
about
when I went when I transferred into Alabama State. So it was the first HBU Swingman Classic hosted by Ken Griffey, the GOAT.
What was that transition like from the D2 ball to D1? Much of a change for you, or was?
For me personally, I don't think it was that much of a change because I put my time in my work. So I prepared myself as much as I could to be ready when I got that time to be over there. I wasn't a step behind because I knew I didn't have too much time.
Wow. So, but winning that title had to be fun, man. That's got to be special right there.
That was an unreal experience. Like, I remember too, I was in the dugout during that game and I was the last person to get in that game.
Wow.
And I told myself, I was like, if I get a chance, if I get a at bat here, I'm gonna do something special. Wow. And the way God works, it was a tie game coming in, hit a double. Yeah. And once I got to second base, it was like, now it's time to play my game.
Wow. Wow, that's gotta be awesome right there.
That's insane. What'd you get your major in?
I got my undergrad in business management and then master's in education.
That's cool. What do you think is something that, if baseball's a degree, that it's taught you that you apply to life?
From my personal experience, I would just say, I guess persistence. Like, if you really want something that bad, you got to put the work in and go after it. You got to believe. So
it's big time, I think, in that position that you had your eyes narrowed in on what you wanted, right? Like you can't walk looking at every guy next to you. It's like comparing Thief of Joy. You know what I mean? That it's admirable, that MVP, you did your thing, paid off.
Nah, you did it. So talk to me about, draft day.
Draft day, that was something special. It was a day that I dreamed about as a kid. All those times I was in the park, long hours with my brother, coming to CJ, commuting, CJ to little story.
Go ahead.
I met CJ when he first moved from Florida to when he came to New York.
From Miami to here, huh?
Yes, sir. He was working. First team he had was, the Sale Grays. And just like I said, I was 10 years old, taking the train down to Red Hook, Brooklyn to practice and go run them hills. And I was like, I want to do it. And I met CJ. Ever since that day, CJ took me in, and here we are 10 years later.
Dang, so when you were sitting on the family and all that, that must have been crazy. Did they call your name? Did you have your agent involved? How was it? Did you throw a party?
I didn't throw a party, but I kind of knew the night before or the morning of, might go around this time. So I was kind of, just preparing for it. But just, being able to get that call and know that this is a possibility, it was just an amazing moment. I was like, made my family proud. All those family vacations they missed, all that time they took out, out of their day, it finally paid off.
Yeah,
that's
sacrifice.
Awesome. How fun it is it got to be there. You're right there now. All you got to, the next mission is to make AA and big leagues after that. You hit doubles, you go straight to the bigs. So I like this. What's your next step after this?
My next step is just, I've been working hard this whole off season. My goal is to just be healthy and be able to be as useful as possible. Wherever they need me to be, whatever they need me to do, I'm willing to do that job. And I'm just going to do it to the best of my ability and leave everything in God's hands.
I love that. Very coachable, which is really hard to have. I love that.
Has there been a point in your career that you found it hard to keep going, or you kind of look back and you're like, man, I was almost kind of?
I'll say for me, a point I feel like that in my life was when I went from D2 to D1, just because of how my situation, the time frame that it went on, because my freshman year, when I was at my D2, I was ineligible, so I was unable to play. Then 2020 hit, COVID, wiped out the whole season.
Yeah.
So now I was a junior in the classroom, freshman on the field. And then obviously I got to senior year, I was a sophomore on the field. Now I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do now? If I want to pursue this dream and make it work, my time is running out. And I feel like that was just a tough time for me. I was just I don't know what the right decision is. Because I could have went, to any other school trying to search. Let me go for the big name. And the next that sidetracks the goal that I have. So it was a situation or a time that I was really okay, I need to talk to my inner circle. And this is where I thank CJ a lot. CJ is probably one of the reasons why, I'm able to be where I'm at. He sat me down one day and he was like, yo, I know this person. I think would be the right decision for you to go to this school. And I was like, you know what? You never led me in the wrong direction. Same thing talking with my brother. And, the rest is history. Here we are now.
Wow. Pro Bowl, man. It's really hard. 1%, right? 1%. Now you got to become half of that 1%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Difficult. I'm excited to watch your season. What could you give to these, inner city kids and these New York City kids out there? What advice?
The best advice I give them is cliche, but like believe in yourself. That's one thing I never stopped doing. No matter how hard, the road was or how hard it looked, how far the goal looked. I just never stopped. I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it my all and I'm going to leave everything I can on the field. I'm going to control what I can control.
Mm-hmm.
Leave it on the field. And if this is what's meant to be, this is what's going to happen. So the best advice I give kids in New York City is just keep believing, keep working hard. Your time is going to come. As long as you treat everybody good and you do what you have to do, you're going to get repaid.
You're the product of it, right? I mean, you went the longest route you could go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're the product of that. Do not give up. I love that about you. Anything else you'd like to give these guys to the city out there? Anything you want to shout out?
I mean, everyone that I'm gonna shout out is gonna be
It's part of the journey.
I love it.
Shout out my guys, I guess, everybody in Bushwick, all my guys growing up, my Grand Street guys,
Shout out to your older brother, right?
Oh yeah,
He
big bro.
Paid the wave.
Big bro. Paved the
I'm
way.
an older brother, so I get it. I took an L from my older brother, didn't.
He
I
paving
love
the
that.
way, and now he's, teaching the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Next generation of kids, there's gonna be somebody else with my story. It's gonna be somebody else with Josh's story, Jalen's story. Everyone got their own story, but that's why I like, coming over here to CJ, because I like talking to the kids and like showing them, like, this is what we do. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's possible.
I was here. They're right on top of you. You're there. You're not, separating yourself from them. You're talking to them.
Sometimes
I think that's
kids
cool.
just need to see that. They need to see that somebody doing it so they can see that it's possible.
Yeah.
Nah, I like that, man. Well,
it's cool to get to pour back into where you came from.
Facts.
I try to do that as much as possible. I try to rep New York as much as I can.
Hey, listen, I learned myself, shout out to Germ, getting me out here. I didn't even know this many Brooklyn and Bronx kids made it to pros. I'm going to be honest with you, because you don't hear about it too much, So I think that's really cool. I came here and met 5 of y'all. So that's amazing. But also it's a blessing to even have you on this podcast to speak about it to all these youth out there, the Perfect Game youth kids and everything. I mean, there's a million kids. I think there's 2.5 million Perfect Game kids playing.
Wow.
So it's amazing that you can be able to, touch their hearts. Some of those kids, we don't know what they're going through or what's in their way or whatnot. So that's awesome. Keep striving, keep going. You can make your dreams come true. Love that.
It blesses others to share the journey. It's cool to hear. We appreciate you sitting down and just telling where you came from. It's cool.
No, absolutely. And I see you always roll with your crew, and I love that. And they're all players too, Baseball's a strong circle, and it's the community. I like that a lot. So
it's not too many of us, so we got to roll together as one
you
unit.
do. I see it, and it's just
we
very
all going
family.
on different paths, but it's all to the same
You
goal.
guys play against each other, but you come home and y'all a family. I love that. That's dope. That's awesome. I really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to come over here.
You guys for having me.
Nah, I love it, man. This is your host, Nelly. Boom. This is Allie, big home team. Welcome to the Step Up, baby. Yay.
I don't know where to look.